Hi Cindy, for my theme unit, I decided to do the ocean. The first thing I have for you is 3 books that I chose. In my opinion, I'm going to go from easiest to hardest. I have ABC, which is a really easy children's book that just goes through the ABCs, I guess, of the ocean life and has really realistic pictures, which might make it easier for a young child to grasp. So, like C is for coral reef. The second in line I have is life in the coral reef. So maybe for a child the ABCs is too young for and they're way past that, you would pick up life in a coral reef, which I really like because it's very bright and colorful. There's a bit more words, but that's good because that matches their comprehension. And then a bit higher from that I have Our Ocean Home, which I love because I think the illustrations are absolutely beautiful, so helps keep my attention as well as the child's. And it's also a good level for reading, but not too boring, not too hard, just right. The next thing I have are my pictures and my flashcards, so I have quite a few. So I have quite a few flashcards that look like this. And then I have quite a few flashcards that look like this. And then I have just a single picture, which represents a vocabulary word. The reason I have some that have words on them and the picture, and then some that are just the picture, is for grading purposes. I think it would be useful. For example, possibly a child is doing really well at your flashcards because they can read that this is a crab. So you just show them the picture of the diver and they have to understand from just seeing the picture what it is. Or even possibly this, for some children, might be too easy. They just see the diver and know what they is. So you would give them just the word crab, and now they have to tell you what a crab is without that visual aid. So you can grade it kind of whichever way you want to, which is kind of nice. So some other pictures that I have are like a catfish, some seaweed, a stingray. Some other pictures that I have are things like a clownfish, a squid. We have some coral reef here. We have a orca whale, my diver friend. Ooh, an eel, a sea urchin. Here's a whale, crab, and there's a couple more, but we don't have to do all those. And then I also have a bigger picture here. What it is basically it's a lot of these things in context, which I thought maybe for a child who's just really not getting these items out of context, you could show them this picture and it might help them make a little more sense of it. Like they can think of a time that maybe they went to the beach or they went to a pool or maybe even they went to the ocean and they can see this and go, oh, these things go here, and then maybe they could understand the relationship a little more and it might make a bit more sense to them if just seeing these objects out of context is too abstract for that child. For my toy or manipulative, I've made a sensory bin full of ocean related things, like this, the rice here represents the blue water, and you know, here we have some blue rocks and green rocks, maybe to just add a bit of appeal for the child and add to the sensory. And then in that we have things like an octopus or a starfish or well, here's another fish. So things like that. And then along the sides of the bin, we have things like a dolphin and coral reef. I thought that was really good to maybe really engage the child's interest so they could get in there and feel with their hands. And so what does water feel like? Wet. You know, you kind of get into that with them, and it engages them in play, which I thought was really good. So this is my sensory bin, which is my toy or manipulative. For my worksheets, I have 3 worksheets. My first one is We Are Sea Animals. So basically the child would look at the sea animals and then they would fill in what the correct animal is. My second one is Whale Twins. So basically it is what it sounds like. The child picks a whale on one side of the paper and then matches the corresponding whale on the other side. So to use this activity, you might say, oh, this whale is blue. Can you find me another blue whale? And they would find them as, what color is that whale? Blue, if you're working on that sound. Another worksheet that I have here is basically finding the difference between these 2 scenes, and I thought this would be great because it could open up a dialogue between you and the child. You could engage them in a lot of different sounds. Oh, it might even be good to work on, oh, this shovel is in her hand, this flag is on top of the castle, and that kind of thing. So I thought those are some really good worksheets you could use. For the games, I have At the Beach, I have Who Has. So basically this game is, I would distribute the cards randomly to the students, and I would select the student with the starfish card to read theirs aloud. The student with the match will be the next player, and they will also read their card aloud. The students must listen for their turn and try not to break the cycle, and when the chain circles back to the first student, then the game would be over, and you might start again or you might end. So I'll just pull some out and give you a bit of an example. So I'm a student with the starfish, and I would say, I have 7. Who has 1 plus 4? And the person with 5 would say, I have 5 buckets. Who has 4 plus 4? And so would continue on. I realize that there is math integrated into this activity, but I thought it was still a really good activity to use because it had so many pictures of different things that you might find more geared towards the beach, but that's still related to the ocean. So things like a bucket or a beach ball or a snorkel mask, a sand castle, a beach towel, the lighthouse, an octopus, a turtle. And I thought that was great because even though some of those things aren't directly related to the ocean, they're still in the same area and they give you a chance to work on so many different sounds with a child. So you could even modify the rules a little bit to say, instead of just I have 4, you could say I have 4 octopuses or octopi, and see how they did with those different words that you had given them. I had another game, which was Build a Crab. So basically, you roll the dice and you pick the body part that corresponds to the number you rolled, and you build the crab basically. So I'll just take pieces out, show you what it looks like. So here's his little pincher. Here's his other little pincher. Here's his eye. Here's his mouth, his legs, and his eye. So I thought this would be great because it's not too difficult and you can discuss the parts of the body with the child. So, oh, this is the crab's eye. Where is your eye? And they go, these are the crab's legs. Where are your legs? And they point to their legs. It's just, and even like the crab is red and different things like that would be really easy to incorporate into speech. And it's an easy enough game that I feel like any child could play it. It wouldn't be too difficult or out of their reach. Whereas the other game, maybe if the child was really not good at math, wouldn't be the best game for them. Whereas this, pretty easy, any child could do. So it might be a grade down. For songs, finger plays, and poems, I have two things. One is a song, one is a poem. So my song is sung to the melody of I'm a Little Teapot, and it is called The Ocean Song. So, there are 5 oceans deep and wide, Pacific, Atlantic are by our sides. Arctic is up north, Southern is south, Indian is far away but not left out. Sorry for my terrible singing voice. But it's an easy enough song sung to that melody. Here it is. And it's not necessarily related to like sea creatures in the oceans, but still related to the oceans. And I thought it's even a good way to teach them about the different oceans that we have. So I like that. And again, them singing the words, you could work on so many different, like even articulation errors if they had them. For my second thing, I have a poem. It's called Deep Blue Sea. I took a dive into the deep blue sea. So many creatures swam past me. A father seahorse taking care of his young, a humpback whale with a lovely song he sung, a playful dolphin frolicking about, a wise old sea turtle had his head poked out. Then a shark came by with his teeth so white, I swam so fast until he was out of sight. So, here's that. And again, really good for working on any errors that your child might have, and really any area you could go with that. Like if a child is self-conscious singing, you could do the poem with them because that might be less pressure on them. Or even if singing is more fun to them, you could go with the song. So that's an activity I really enjoyed actually. Then I have my crafts that I came up with. And basically what I have here is ocean in a bottle. So I like this. This is a really, really easy craft to do with a child of any age. Basically what it is, it's just water with blue food coloring in it, a little bit of glitter to make it pretty, and I have some sea creatures in here, I don't know if you can see, and then I have some shells at the bottom, and then when you shake it all up, they all mix together. And I just thought this was a good craft to make with a child because it's easy, it's not overly complicated, it's not going to lose their attention in the process. And then they have a fun glittery little bottle afterwards that they can take home and shake around. For my puzzles, fairly simple puzzles here. Basically what it is, this is a puzzle that hasn't been cut up, but it has 12 squares, and so I'll pull out the one that has been cut up. It's of a different fish, but you'll get the idea. So squares are fairly small, but you can enlarge it. They look like this, and I like this because, again, it's easy, it's not that hard, and it works. It can really work for anything. You can talk about the color of the fish, the fact that this particular fish has stripes. Oh, you could even say, I wonder how he got into so many pieces. Like, you could go so many different directions with this particular activity, and I like it a lot. For my general supplies and reinforcers, I have right here a little stamping kit, and I thought that this would be a really good reinforcer for the child because they get to pick which stamp they want, and I know that kids really like stamps. You just take your stamp, you push it on, you give it to them. And then on my side of it, I really liked this because I can use it over and over again. I don't have to constantly buy a new stamp pad, unlike stickers where you're constantly rebuying once you run out of your stickers. So yeah, this is what I choose for my general reinforcers. Thanks, Cindy.